I would like to welcome you to the virtual version of the panel today. We would very much like to thank you for your participation and wish you and your families good health during the trying times of the pandemic. As we're all socially distant, we won't be needing these today, thankfully. So as a Comcast company, Blue Vector provides advanced threat detection capabilities using our patented machine learning and speculative code execution engines to detect some of the most menacing threats. We're not only happy to sponsor this event, but very excited to help kick it off with such an esteemed set of panelists. We call this panel the Long View on Cybersecurity, as the folks you'll be hearing from today are not new to the industry. Rather, they are among some of the pioneers. In fact, they've developed policy, created institutions, and built some of the backbone of the nation's cyber defense infrastructure over the last several decades. While I'm certain you will leave here knowing more about the past, you will leave here knowing more about what lies ahead as it relates to mitigating cyber risks, managing your supply chain, and helping you prepare your companies, government agencies, and as an individual to meet these challenges. Now I would like to open it up to the panelists to please introduce yourselves, as well as share some backgrounds of some of the experiences and challenges you've seen with the supply chain cyber risk.
Thanks, Travis. I'm Jan Tai, retired Navy Vice Admiral. I think the earliest and most well-known supply chain issues and lessons learned have been well studied, and they are from the late 2013, 2014 timeframe, and that is the Target and the Home Depot cases. But in both cases, it involved a vendor being breached by a cyber attacker. And in the case of Target, the attacker came in through a vendor portal and then got access into the Target network. And in the case of Home Depot, I believe there was a phony invoice that was provided that was loaded with malware. So in both cases, the attackers used the vendor to gain credentials or privileges that they would then use to escalate their attack into the Home Depot or the Target network. Both companies revealed that there was more than $200 million impact to their companies, and that was just what was publicly revealed. Unknown how much money went in across the board for those companies, and years of litigation, which can be very, very damaging to a company. I think that commodity malware was used to breach the initial vendors here, and so even a modicum of security in that supply chain, in that third-party vendor, would have prevented the kind of attack that we saw. Once the attacker was inside with actual privileges and to that network, they looked like an insider. So much harder to detect at that point, although not impossible. In this case, they exploited the relationship between the vendor and Target. When you think about the possibilities of a digital product provider or a software company potentially being breached, and as an organization, as a company, you're incorporating their products into your into your offerings, that could be a lot more damaging than just stealing credit cards, stealing data, stealing personal information. You potentially have sabotage, disruption of your business, or even destruction of control systems if the attacker is aimed at those kinds of things. So I think it's really important that company executives and even boards are looking at the supply chain risk in general and the cybersecurity supply chain specifically, and rating the severity of those risks and taking mitigating actions to deal with the risks that they're inheriting from the supply